welcome to the Training Room podcast. This is our first live webinar chat. I'm going to be joined today by a personal trainer living out in Portugal called Andrew, and one of our other tutors, Mark. And we're basically been chatting about the COVID-19 and the effects of gyms and personal training and all things like that. So enjoy. Right then, welcome to our podcast. Today joined by Andrew and Mark. So hi, welcome along.
Hello.
Andrew, do you want to start us off? Do you want to tell us a little bit about you? It's like blind date. Where are you from? What's your name?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's good. So obviously my name's Andrew. I've been a PT for coming on 10 years now. And I've worked both in the self-employed realm and also for sort of big gyms as well, big corporations. So I've kind of seen both ends of the scale. For the last year, I've moved to Portugal, and I've been working pretty much solely as an online personal trainer. And I've had to go through all the kind of ups and downs of formulating an infrastructure for that as well. My background in training is kind of calisthenics mixed with a little bit of gymnastic strength training, but I kind of enjoy everything and try to sort of involve myself with most things fitness.
I'd guess that. The hair itself says calisthenics.
Yeah, it's a bold look, but it's one I feel happy with, so we're good.
Cool. Mark, what about you? Although you've done a few of these now.
I have indeed. So I obviously work for the training room. I work down in the south coast, Southampton and Brighton's tutor. Obviously at the moment, I'm really anyone's tutor because we're going to an online model. I've been in the industry about 20 years, so I'm a bit of an old dog. So it's quite nice to hear Andy's been in at least 10, so I'm not feeling so old. I know you've been in a while, Nick, as well.
Yeah.
I've been here, there and everywhere. I've worked abroad. Sort of jealous that Andy's now working abroad again in the sun. I get bored easy, so I go from teaching courses to just PT, then back to teaching courses, then back to PT. So at the moment, I'm doing a bit of both. Full-time at the training room, a little bit of in-person PT and a little bit of online sort of coaching as well, where I am at the moment in time.
Cool. Good stuff. Okay. So we're really here to start with talking about PTs. And is there any light at the end of the tunnel, do we think, PTs? Is there that positive message that we can kind of kick back to PTs and think, yeah, actually, at the end of all this COVID-19 luck, there's light? What do we think, Andrew?
I'd say so, yes. I mean, luckily I've spoken to a lot of old friends who are working for gyms, and a lot of them have been furloughed. So as long as their numbers are up pretty good, they're still getting like 80% of their salary. Mm-hmm. So that's not a bad situation to be in. My friends who are self-employed, obviously a different matter. But what I tend to find with those guys who are self-employed is their skills are probably just that little bit sharper anyway. So they're probably a little bit more in tune, a little bit more established as a PT to be able to sort of think outside the box and, like pick up the online thing, whether it's live classes or, doing video demonstrations. Their skills are generally there. So I think they will come out the other side of it. It's just a matter of staying positive and just waiting until it all passes, really.
What about yourself, Mark?
Yeah, I feel the same as Andrew. I think people that are self-employed, that are doing PT, they're already on the ball, aren't they? They're already thinking for the next best thing. They're never quite happy, so it's probably not going to affect them that much. But I think the people that are based in gyms, I mean, it's really easy for me to say it's going to get better, and it's actually going to learn loads from it. But I think PTs that are being reliant on income from wages or relying on clients coming into gyms as their clients, I think they're really going to pick up some unique skills, because if they're not getting that regular income, or if their income has dropped significantly, they're obviously thinking of new ways that probably someone like Andy does on a regular basis. Because if he's online PT and he's not based in a main gym, he's going to have to, his marketing is going to has to be really good. So I think hopefully PTs, there will be an end to it, won't they? At some point we'll come out of it, and I think these PTs that are struggling now are probably going to maybe do even better. I think that's the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I was reading that 31% of Brits believe they're actually doing more daily exercise now than before lockdown started.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a big amount.
Yeah, I think what's good as well is a lot of people are filming it. So, I mean, if you've been on social media, you've seen like there's just videos coming out everywhere. But what is good about that, apart from it being a little bit annoying at times, is it's probably getting people to focus on their technique. I knew for as long as I've been a PT, like there's moments where you get a little bit sloppy, and it's not until you have to start filming things that people are like, oh, you have to check it in a little bit, maybe re-edit it, do it again, even go away and practice techniques. So that, in hindsight or at the moment, is probably a good thing for people, really, is as long as they are having the intuition to look at what they're doing and not just thinking, nailed it. And,
yeah. Again, it's going back for PTs, it's about adaptation, isn't it? Adapting your business and changing the way in which we're doing. And I think that, most businesses have kind of struggled throughout this period, but leisure and fitness actually seems to have adapted pretty well. And there's lots of new things coming out that PTs especially are developing on.
And obviously
that you've seen.
Yeah, and I think it's a case with, especially the reason why we're on lockdown, because sometimes we forget why we're on a lockdown. I mean, there's a pretty nasty virus flying around, and obviously people's health, what condition you're in. I mean, you can't say it across the board, but on whole, people who are in better shape and better healthy condition are going to cope a lot better if they do contract the virus. So that being said, people picking up a lot more exercise than what they used to in their regime is a really good thing for what could later come.
Do you think this would change people's goals when they come back to the gyms with PTs? So previously it was quite often was about losing weight for a holiday, or they marked as always getting into a certain dress or whatever it might be that he was going for. But do you think this might actually change some of those goals to be more health orientated as opposed to just for the short term?
Yeah, I think so, definitely. Yeah, I've noticed a different. Most of my client base are 40s, 50s, 60s, so it is a lot of the reasons why they're exercising is for health, but they've noticed a huge change in their mental health as well, which is helping with the exercise, and just having those remote sessions that they do with me in the morning. It's just really helped massively, and they're thinking about their health as a general, as mental health, how well they move, how well they'll feel when they get up in the morning. And maybe it's because they're not seeing as many people, but they don't seem to care so much about how they look. It's just they're now talking about how they feel. And I know my piece personally, I think I've probably still got that little PT ego head, and when I go to the gym, you probably pick up heavy weights, don't you? A little bit too much. You think,
I'm still bicep curling over here.
That's it. Yeah, you still think that you're some superhero, but then you wake up the next few days and you picked up a little injury, or you can't walk or something. Whereas I don't know, me personally, my workouts are adapted to more TRX and kettlebells, and I actually feel better. I move better, my mobility is better. I don't know about my gains. I don't know whether or not my arms have got smaller, but I know I feel better myself, and hopefully I think people start to see that. And it's not just about how you look all the time, it's how you function as you get older.
You just find smaller t-shirts now, aren't you?
Definitely. Triple XS.
Yeah.
Stretchy.
So we've seen, and Andrew, you mentioned it about all the online PT and things like that that's out there in terms of videos. You go on any social media and it's just bombarding you with people doing burpees. What are do we think they're actually could benefit? Is that a good thing for PTs to be doing?
What, in the sense of doing these videos online? Yeah, I'd say so, because again, for me as a PT, it's always a kind of imperative for me to keep myself in shape. So if you're cranking out more of a workout by doing videos and demos and live things, then all the more better, because again, you're supposed to be setting an example at the end of the day. That's not always the case. I am aware. I mean, it's a dodgy line between coaching and actually being like a fitness professional, because you could argue that someone could be a great coach, not necessarily be in great physical condition, which is true. You look at boxing, look at a few sports, performance sports, and it's definitely the case. But for me, if it's a personal training thing, I'd always try and carry myself with a high level. So that means keeping myself in good condition, watching what I eat, and setting and leading by example, and I'd like to think that's why people go to a PT. So that being said, I hope, I think it is a good thing that people are doing this. I do think people need to do a little bit of a rain check on some of their techniques before putting things out. But that's a personal gripe, I think, sometimes. And it's an experience thing as well. Some people just kind of like are new to obviously seeing themselves on a video. They maybe done something and they're like, oh yeah, it's good, but not really sat down and digested it because maybe they're nervous about it, or they're kind of a bit excited about getting something out online, and not really like kind of analysing what they're putting out there. So as long as they're being careful, it's a good thing.
Okay. Mark, do you think then these online videos, these online PT and things like that is going to kind of rocket once we can get back into the gym still? Do you think it's still going to be a big part of people's daily fitness, or do we think actually it'll probably settle down and just go back to being in the gym?
I think probably a bit of both. I think people are getting exposed to a different form of exercise, to do home workouts. I know the clients I see, I train them at home anyway, they prefer that than going to the gym, but watching videos or following some of those, like the Les Mills, the Pelotons, people love them, don't they? So
yeah,
you probably find there is people I know, friends, family, work colleagues, they're dying to get back to the gym, but I know quite a few people as well that are just thinking 40-50 quid a month for a gym membership. I could pay 15 quid a month for this subscription. I can do exercise at home. Whether or not they're going to do it long term, it might change their minds, because obviously people like people. They're social creatures, aren't we? We want to be around people. Yeah. But it's hard to say, isn't it? At first I thought it's going to completely change the fitness industry and people are just going to quit gyms, but as it's gone on now and people are dying to get around people, like almost hug people, don't they?
Yeah.
You almost want to just hug people in the street and get close to them when the lockdown lifts. So I think it will change the fitness industry, but I still think we'll still have the main, the sort of bread and butter of fitness with gyms and how we do it at the moment. Yeah. I think my clients are enjoying the remote sessions, but I guarantee you, as soon as that lockdown lifts, they want to see me in person. It's not, they've got that accountability still, but they want to see me actually in person if it's an exercise session. When I do the coaching sessions, the nutrition coaching, it's just over Zoom like this and we're chatting. They don't know any different. I'm not going to their houses, but certainly when I'm training them in person, they'll still want that person touch. Same with the Les Mills classes that people do, the body combat, body pump. It's the fact that you're in that environment, aren't you? Another 20 people, that really energetic instructor at the front, and you can't really escape. It almost makes you work harder. But when you're at home in your PJs, in your boxers, doing it to a TV, it's obviously effective now, but whether or not it maintains that. But I think companies are certainly thinking about other methods, and I think it's highlighted online training like what Andrew's doing now, and probably what I do a little bit part-time, is that it's opening up the horizon of PTs earning money.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like you say, having that kind of combination of the two working together, I think will work really well. I was writing some plans just the other day for some of my clients, and I was actually thinking, well, we can now incorporate both. We could have like your classic Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the gym, but why not take part in an online thing at home on a Tuesday and a Thursday? And actually combined those two sections. I think it's also... Again, sorry?
Well, I was going to say that's a really good idea then, because especially if those people, like, I mean, if you're lucky, you've got clients there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 times a week, perfect. But if you're seeing someone just once a week and then you're not really kind of seeing what they're doing for the rest of the week until they see you again, this online thing is a perfect way to just kind of maybe bump up your revenue a little bit, but just kind of have something there so you check in, whether it's just like a call once a week or like a little programming you can do by video and online. And this is a great way to progress.
Absolutely, and I know home training kits have rocketed. The sales of gym equipment for people at home have just absolutely rocketed at the moment. So people are getting the kit in. So we're either going to see people trying to make use of it, or selling pages are going to be flooded with gym kits.
True, yeah.
So for PTs after this lockdown, you want to be getting on those selling pages and looking at what's coming up, because you'll get stuff cheap.
That's a very good point. That's a
Yeah.
very good point.
So, with people kind of doing that, do you guys that have done kind of online coaching and such, do you find the coaching and PT is changing a little bit? What I kind of mean by that is when I think about coaching, it's more about looking at technique, and it's giving them the education to go off and do it on their own at a good intensity. Whereas sometimes with the PT, it's just about, let's just beast our clients for an hour and then send them on their way. So do you think people do you think the online part has changed the way people think in terms of, I see you as a client now, let's go through all the information so that the rest of the week view is really good? Or do they see it still as, right, let's just work you hard for an hour? Go on, Andrew, go with that.
Well, I think it'd be a case of hopefully it holds people's clients. I've been quite fortunate in the past where I've kind of had quite a niche set of clients where I knew the motivation was there, but you kind of always want them to have that kind of initiative behind them. So I think with the online training thing, it definitely it can almost get people involved a little bit more, because they might have to do a little bit of research by themselves about something, or they might have to be like, oh, I can't quite remember what that was, maybe I need to have a quick look somewhere. And actually what happens then is they're not going away from you, but they're actually just increasing their knowledge, they're absorbing it more. Whereas sometimes if they just come along to be beasted for an hour once a week, they're kind of in, they get it done, get out, and they're not even thinking about it, they're not even memorizing any like names of muscles, exercises. You can say, oh, let's go do this, and I'm like, what's that? So in that sense, I think it's probably going to be an improvement with the online training.
Yeah. Mark, do you think it's going to be like Royal Rumble when gyms open up again?
Maybe. It could be. I think people are going to be flocking, aren't they?
Yeah.
But who knows? You're probably going to have a selection of people that are going to go crazy and fight their way to the gym, and then you're going to have a collection of people that are still a little bit wary about getting in there, and the risk of getting some disease or some illness or something isn't going to be the sort of back of people's minds.
We all know that gyms now are going to be so much cleaner. That's going to be
for a period of time.
Yeah, for a period of time. I think they're going to need to start introducing that unit in the level 2 fitness instructing course. But we know the online thing doesn't suit everybody. Like you said, Mark, it lacks that sort of social side of it. And I think this whole process is going to make gyms so much more social. Sometimes in the gym, you do get to the point where headphones are in, people just kind of crack on, do their own bit in their own space. But I think this is just going to make everybody, like you said, go to a shop, stand in a queue now, and someone's talking to you, which I think only happened up north before. Whereas down south here, that was a no-go, you didn't do that. But now, I think it's just making everybody a little more social, because they've got something in common to chat about straight away, which I think is quite nice. So let's have a think then of top tips. So what has been in the past for you guys, or even present, the most effective way that you've gained potential client? It could be either in the gym or online. Mark, start us off. Any ideas?
I'm going to be really boring. Chatting to people, full stop. That's it, sorry to say. I say this on the courses because I think the students want to know some secret sauce, some secret method, isn't it? Because they've seen obviously marketing ploys online of people trying to get people to stick figures, all that sort of nonsense. So when they come in and ask me, say, also, how do you get clients in a gym? Just talk to them. Everyone should know your name. Everyone should know what you do, what you specialize in, what you're about, what you're into, that you're a great person, you're a great PT, and just make sure you know everyone's name and you chat to people, and you chat to people about things that aren't fitness related. So whenever I say this, the first thing what PTs do is then start going up to people and going, so how's your workout going? That's like no, you don't do that. Just you go up to them and say, did you see Westworld over the weekend? What an ending to that program. That's what you do, isn't it?
I've never seen it. Never seen it.
You're watching something, but you're missing out, Nick. You're missing out. just relate with the people that you're going to work with, because obviously people employ people, don't they? That's some quote somewhere. It's not by me. I've heard this like a million times. So
Yeah.
I just think if you're going to be in the gym to get new clients, is just be relatable and just chat to people and get to know them and do this. I call it, it's called a soft sell, isn't it? It's you get to know them, and then if they ever think about a PT, they're going to think straight away it's going to be Nick. Nick's the PT for me. So I know Amy, he likes the same stuff as me or whatnot.
Yeah.
Certainly in person. I think even online with social media, Andrew said about being a role model. You definitely got to do that, but then also having just that little bit of relatable, little bit of personality, because that's what I see with the videos. They're all the same, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're all these. And I'm not a huge fan of bodyweight stuff. I've been doing a little bit recently for conditioning. It's been kicking my backside because I'm not very good at it. But that's all you see, isn't it? It's the same burpees. It's the same squat thrusts. It's the same things over and over again. And no one actually looks any different. No one sounds any different. So there's no reason why that person's going to pick you over sort of someone else, is there? So being relatable, having some sort of something about you that is different, or they just relate, whether or not it's you like movies, you like Great British Bake Off, your hobbies is sewing or something, whatever. Yeah, what's that?
That I watched, the Bake Off.
Yeah, there we go. So that's what I think, really. But it's not like a secret sauce. It's just about being human, isn't it? But
yeah, absolutely. I agree. Me and Mark the other day were chatting about online platforms. And you said something to me then, Mark, which kind of stuck with me, is that previous online platforms I've used where you can create programs and things like that, I've just used the generic videos and things that they put up. And Mark said to me, the thing is that, like you say, people buy training from you because they like you. So give them videos of you doing that stuff and create your personality when you're delivering those exercises. Which was massively key. And now my time's making videos.
I did some over the weekend, and I think I did about an hour and a half. I did about 50 videos with all kettlebell based. Destroyed me I've only just recovered, just doing like 5 or 6 reps and doing it, as Andrew said, about having perfect form. And then having to, you watch it back and go, oh no, my back was doing that then, and oh no, my arm wasn't doing it right there, and then you have to redo it. But it is, as I said to you, it's my clients, the first thing they say to me is go, who's the guy or who's the woman in your videos?
Yeah.
Does she work with you? I'm like, no, it's just some random guy.
Yeah. And even the text that you write along with them, rather than creating it like textbook, I've now written it in the way that I would speak and explain it. And my humour, whether anyone else finds it funny, who knows? But I put those little drops in, which I think it really creates that personal approach. What about yourself, Andrew?
Gym-based, 100% the same as Mark. Like, you've just got to talk to people, and again, not go up with the hard sell. It's just nice friendly greeting. Sometimes what I try and do is just find out a little bit about them. Did they used to play a sport? Do they like gardening? Because everything in life, whatever you're doing, most hobbies, if it's gardening or this, it's involving some sort of movement pattern. So you can make a link there, but it's definitely about just talking, making yourself know that you're a friendly person, and just not putting the hard sell, which is difficult for PTs, especially if they're kind of trying to build their client base and maybe panicking because they know they've got no money coming in at the end of the month. But if you can get through that stage, and it might not mean that you make the sale right there and then, maybe just introduce yourself, or I do this, or just make a mental note of them, and then when they come back around, did you see Westworld at the weekend, or
no, I didn't.
I'm missing out.
I've never seen it.
3 seasons.
But you're not the client for me now. But even with my online PTing, I do a weekly video call with all my clients, because again, going back to what Mike said about the personality, like, people are buying into personality, so and your person. So if you're really detached from them, and that's the problem with some of these online, where they might be just sending you an online program, and then you just kind of get sent like a bunch of stuff. You never really have contact with someone. For me, it's important to keep it as real as possible. So I do weekly calls with them. And I build up an individual library of exercises. So I'll do demo exercises for them, which I'll do voiceovers for, which will have their name involved in it. And it's just very personal. So every time they go and look, I can't remember what that exercise is, they'll go to their library, oh, there it is. And I'm like, hey, how you doing? And, I'm saying their name, and it's all very personal still. But there's no secret to it. You've just got to be a friendly person and have a love for what you do as well, because if you kind of feel that you're kind of making a hard sell, and you probably are making a hard sell, that's probably because maybe you don't quite believe in the product that you're selling, or you don't believe in yourself. But it's a whole world of things you have to kind of navigate, especially at the start.
At the start it's hard, because especially if you're a PT coming out of a course, you might not necessarily have that kind of experience that you can fall back on. You can chat to someone and they say, I want to lose weight, and you might be thinking, well, in theory I know what you've got to do, but never done it, but let's have a go. We just time.
It's all trial and error, especially at the start. And another good technique is obviously especially if you're training in the gym that you're working, then still be aware that people are going to be watching what you're doing. They've seen you in a uniform, and all of a sudden you walk in your gym kit, and people will be watching. Whether they do PT with you is a different matter. But so if you're walking around leaving your dumbbells out, or doing something with sloppy form, or acting inappropriately, then people are going to pick up on that. So again, you have to kind of be wary in those situations that when you are training yourself, you might have your headphones on, which is fine. But there might be someone watching there, and there might be someone who's a potential client as well. So it's kind of that's kind of a one way that I've kind of always think when I was in the gym as well, and it did help me get clients as well. Often people come over like, oh, what were you doing there? Then you kind of build from there.
Yeah, I always used to do games to kind of get attention. This was just because I was never very good at just going up and just chatting to people. The Monopoly board and stuff like that. Yeah, that's it. Connect Four was my forte.
Let's get the Monopoly board out.
Come and have a game of Jenga with these dumbbells. It's brilliant. Yeah.
That's not a bad idea, Jenga. You get one of those big ones, like the guy.
But I used to do things like that. So I'd kind of have things like either like a fish bowl, it didn't have any fish in it or anything, just an empty one. Where I get people to put their name and their goals and things like that in, and then at the end of the week, I'd pull out a name and they would win a week of PT or something like that. But then I've got all those contact details of everybody else that show kind of interest. And I do things like I'd have like a menu where you've got like roller 5, you've got to do 5 burpees, roller 6, and you get a 15-minute kettlebell class or something, and then they'd roll the dice and see what they win, and then you just book them straight in. For me, that was just like so much easier than trying to go up to someone and go, hi, how we doing? So I just didn't know what to say to people.
It distracts from us, because if you're going up to people as well, they might be just as nervous as what you are. So actually instantly you've got like an icebreaker there, haven't you? Because all of a sudden they're not thinking, oh my God, they're trying to sell me PT. They're like, why has he got a dice? Why is there like that Jenga? Some
weird kinky game he's got going on. But and I just noticed that every other PT was just going up to everybody, asking them, do they want personal training? And so it was just something a little bit different. Names
as well, because they might go and do that, and then they don't. You could say to them 10 minutes later, what was that person's name? And they're like, no, because you haven't engaged long enough, and you haven't. Whereas if you do something like you're doing, that's a perfect way, because then you can repeat their name a few times, build a rapport, and then they're likely to come to you next time, whether it's your PT or not. It's just a different matter. But you've already built that kind of friendly persona, haven't you? And I think people look for that.
Absolutely. And I found other people would go and play his game. You'll win something.
And then free sells, though, doesn't it? Free.
Yeah.
Because there's all these online services. They've all got like extended 3 months. I know, Nick, you shared one from Chris Hemsworth's version of whatever it's called, isn't it?
Centre
or something like that. That was 6 weeks free, and I've not really touched it, but recently there I was messaging going, I did one of those home workouts. It was amazing. And I'm a PT.
I don't think you said it was amazing. I think you said it really hurt.
I might have used some swear words in the text message, but I've used it a little bit, and maybe if I'd used it more, I probably would have just gone straight in and bought it. You think I'm a PT, and so you think I shouldn't need that motivation, I shouldn't need that guidance, but it was something different, and it was free does sell, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think sometimes personal trainers say, I'm not giving away a free session. Well, people go to like a BMW and they're trying to buy like a 40 grand car. The guys in that showroom will do anything, won't they? You can have the car for the weekend, you can buy the car, they give you as much as they can so they can get the sale. And I think PTs, well, because then they're getting the taste, aren't they?
Yeah,
so playing the games with a bit of exercise, they're getting to know you as a personality and what you like to be trained by. And it's that people want to give back, don't they? So if you give something free, they almost want to repay in some way, whether or not if it's not giving you money for personal trainers, they'll probably recommend you for other people that may be interested.
Yeah, definitely. So have you guys got any kind of standout moments that you can think of, either from working in a gym or online training? Kind of can be anything, but if I said that to you, what's the first thing that pops into mind? Thing that I think of Mark. I remember Mark a few years ago posting something online. I think he'd just bought some brand new rollerblades and was just skating backwards and forwards in reception of a gym. So yeah.
Go, wow, you've got a good memory, Nick.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm into my skating, so I was kind of looking at those blades. What's he got? What's his technique like? But yeah.
The technique wasn't very good, Andrew. Trust me. I've gone over many times out of shot, but I was doing shoulder presses and stuff in between.
Oh, fantastic.
Andrew,
well, there's mine anyway. I've done mine. Thanks. I've forgotten about that.
I don't know. For me, like I always, when I was working one-to-one with people, I always looked at what would I be able to do to kind of maintain a client base. I never liked it if it was kind of, people coming in and, I've got this amount of time, I'm doing it for a wedding, I'm doing it for weight loss, I'm doing it for this. I was just not good at maintaining those people because for me, I like to work with people on a personal level. So I used to really focus my energy on injury rehab, posture correction, and generally quite elderly people, because I always found that I had the most positive responses out of them in the sense of their motivation and their general need for want to keep fit and healthy, whether it's just joint mobility, balance, or the proprioception skills. So I've had like quite a few clients. I've worked deeply with one client who had Parkinson's, and Parkinson's is very unknown territory. It really is very unresearched. It's getting better now, but exercise at the moment is really the best prescription, really. I mean, obviously there are pretty hardcore medications that go along with that, with Parkinson's, and they have to find the right ones, but exercise really is kind of one of those things that is kind of leading the way really in research. So getting to work with something like that was just fantastic. So it wasn't quite as as funny as rollerblading, but maybe rollerblading would have been good to do actually. I think about things like that actually. I'm going to speak to a couple of my clients this week. Like, what do you think about rollerblades? But yeah, so for me, I kind of like taking on those people which I just knew I could make a difference with, and I knew were going to stick around. So, like for me, it was always elderly people. It was people with serious illnesses and conditions, because at the end of the day, that it kind of made me happy to know that I was genuinely making a difference in people's lives. So for me, yeah, that side of things was kind of really what kept me going for so many years, really.
Cool. Mark, have you got anything you want to add, or are you sticking with the rollerblades?
Well, I could probably think of like a million of those silly videos I've done over time that's been on social media, really, but I don't want to admit. Maybe I'll go for a more like. Are
they still up on social media? I have to check this all out now. I kind of.
Don't worry, I'll find them.
Anymore.
I'll find them. Yeah.
Find them. I think there's one of me dancing to same concept of the Billy Joel's "We Didn't Start the Fire," going in and out of shot in my office door, I think, but that was a long time ago. On a more serious note, I think with standout moments, sort of like a aha moment of, as you said, Nick, earlier, about people I always found that people with PT, they just wanted to be beasted. And obviously, I think Andrew mentioned as well, they sort of then forget about you as the trainer, and they just go back to their normal life, and they've done their hour. It gives them an excuse then to eat whatever they want and just do whatever they want. They feel less guilty because they've done it. When I moved to more of a online training or like a hybrid model, which I think, Andrew, maybe you said you're doing a bit of both. So I see my clients in person, but I also do some online stuff with them as well, which again for PTs is great for some extra money. And I had a whole moment of, this is it. You're going to change their life, because you're going through lifestyle, sleep, their foods, their workouts that they're going to do, as you said, Nick, about their technique and things. So I had that light bulb moment a few years ago, going, oh, this is it. This is why my clients weren't seeing results. And actually, some of my purely online clients actually see more results than my in-person clients, because they take responsibility for themselves. That's one thing that PTs need to try and get over to the clients, is that get your clients to take responsibility, take their own accountability. And obviously with COVID-19, I think a lot of people out there are actually taking responsibility for their fitness and for their health. So I would say that's probably a standout moment of the past, I've been in this industry for 20 years, so sort of see things come and go, but that was like that light bulb moment. It just shows that you can still learn even at 40 years old, 20 years in the industry type thing.
Well, you don't look a day over 39, Mark.
And the rest.
No, that's great. No, you're absolutely right. And even things like kind of cooking. People are cooking a lot more at the moment and things like that. You know, obviously there's less takeaways. You can't go out and just grab something quick and easy. So all that kind of plays into part with that kind of whole health thing. Cool. I think we nailed it. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think that was good. I think we'll call it there. Because either people are either leave them wanting more, I think is the phrase.
Good. Westworld, that's what they're wanting to know about now.
Yeah.
We need another podcast. Have you watched it, Andrew?
No, I kept quiet the whole time because I haven't.
This is it. We need a second
I
one.
played along as if I had, but
No, you both need to watch Westworld, and then we need to come back and talk about philosophical stuff and what it means and things like that.
I've heard lots of good things about it, though, in all fairness. So,
we're going to leave it there.
Well, but
we're going to leave it there. We're going to go and watch Westworld, and then we'll meet back and chat about that. Yeah.
That sounds pretty
Nice one. Well, thanks very much for joining us, guys. Take care. Speak to you soon.
There it is. Bye.
Okay. Thank you to Andrew and Mark for joining us on that podcast. Really enjoyed that. Really good chat. Nice to get lots of different opinions coming along. Definitely going to go and watch Westworld now. So if you are too, enjoy it. I hope it's as good as Mark explained it to be. But generally, I hope it gave people, really positive outlook on for PTs especially and gyms themselves after this COVID-19 has finished, or at least get the ball rolling back into the gyms. So best of luck with your businesses or your personal training or anything else that you've got going on, and stay safe. Thank you.